With the addition of the optional inventory module with CenterPoint, a user is able to set up not only sales items, but different inventory items as well. The different kinds of items that a user is able to set up with the inventory module installed are service items with labor costs associated with them, non-tracked items, inventory items, serialized inventory items, and lotted inventory items. This particular video will focus on inventory items. To set up inventory items, we would need to go to Setup, and then Inventory and Items. Okay, you can see I already have a list of items that have been created. The new item that we're going to create is an inventory item, and we're going to go ahead and click New. Now, the inventory item that we're going to be creating is actually a ski package that we sell. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give that ski package an abbreviation. All of your items need to have an abbreviation of some sort, and they need to be unique. So I'm going to go ahead and call this Atomic 79C. Okay, that just is the abbreviation that we're using for that particular item. This could be an item code, anything that you regularly use to identify that item. So we're going to give it a little bit longer description name here. Okay, and if that's all the description I need, then I'm done. But if I want that description to have a little more information on it, on the sales invoice, then I may go ahead and include some additional information here. So I could go ahead and include down here a little more to identify this. So this is going to be the Atomic Vantage 79C skis plus the M10GW bindings. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll click OK on that. And anytime I want to get back to that description, all I have to do is go ahead and click on the lookup there, and it'll go ahead and put the items down here. Okay, we're going to identify this as an inventory item. So we're going to go ahead and select inventory item there. And then I'm going to need to assign this to a sales group. Now, when you first install CenterPoint, there's only one sales group called General, but I've set up some other sales groups, and I'm going to select the one called Ski Packages. I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to right-click on it and edit it so that you can see how I set this up. There is a separate video on setting up sales groups. Okay, the sales group, though, is going to include defaults for different accounts. So my sales account is product sales, my returns and allowance account is product sales, and then my cost of goods account is ski package costs. Okay, if I had wanted to, or if we were allowing commissions, I could also default a commissions account to that. Now that default commissions account would show up over here if I had had a commissions. Okay, so that's my sales group. Then you can also select a sales tax category. I only have two categories, one for the items that I sell and the other one for service items that I sell. And so we're going to select the general here. And if I right click on it and edit it, you can see that it is taxable for all of the jurisdictions that I have included. Okay, now you could set up all kinds of different sales tax categories for different items. You would want to go ahead and follow the videos for setting up sales tax categories. Underneath the status, we can mark this as either current, discontinued, or obsolete, and you're able to filter then for those different types of items. I'm then going to go ahead and put in a stocking unit weight. This will allow me to see that information on a packing slip, so it's good for shipping charges to know how much each item weighs. So this particular item weighs 38.6 pounds. And once again, if I was allowing commissions, I could go ahead and put it here. It is marked as taxable. This is an item that I will be generating taxes for those customers that are taxable. Then if I have any customers marked on their customer record that get a trade discount, I can also mark this and allow that trade discount to be applied to this particular item. We are not using trade discounts, so mine is not marked. Below that, you're going to choose the unit of measure in which you sell this particular item, and then the suggested price. This could be like the manufacturer's suggested retail price. So we could go ahead and put that in there, and then your unit cost. Okay. Now unit cost is really going to be tracked by your purchases. So it's going to be calculated based off of your different purchases. That's where the unit cost is going to come from. This is just a reference to what the basic unit cost would be. On the accounts tab, we are going to have these fields for sales and returns and allowances default in from the sales group. Okay, so these accounts that defaulted in from the sales group. And now I'm going to go ahead and choose my inventory account, and the rest of the accounts will fill in. Now this cost of goods account could have been filled in by either my sales group or by my inventory account. You'll see here if I edit the inventory account, I'm going to right click on it and edit it, go to the detail tab here, that we had set up a cost of goods account called cost of goods. But the one that populated here is called ski package costs. That actually came from my sales group. So if I went back to setup in sales and sales groups, you would see here for ski packages that I had set up a cost of goods account for ski packages. So you could have it default to this screen from either place. That is a preference. Underneath File and Preferences, and I'm going to bring my Preferences screen over here, and Customer Invoices and Cost of Goods. This is where you can say you want to either assign the cost of goods account from the sales group or from the inventory account. Okay, mine came from the sales group. You'll notice that the Lotted and Serialized tab has been grayed out because this is not a lotted or serialized item, so we can go right over to the Units of Measure tab. Now, if you happen to purchase this item in the same unit of measure that you go ahead and you stock it in, then you really don't have, and sell it in, then you really don't have anything to do on this tab if you chose the unit of measure on the first screen. Okay, however, if you happen to purchase this item in a unit of measure that is different from what you stock it in and sell it in, you can go ahead and put that unit of measure here. So let's say that we purchase these by the dozen, and we're going to go ahead and put that in as our purchase unit of measure, and that has 12 of them in it. Okay, so I'm going to put in my conversion back to my stocking unit of measure. So it has 12 of the stocking unit of measures in each case or each dozen. Okay, I don't really need that for what I'm doing, but I wanted to show you how you could go ahead and set up a different unit of measure here. So we're going to go ahead and clear this information. I really just want to delete that row. I'm going to just right click and delete that row, and then mark this as the purchase unit of measure as well. You do have a place here where you can put in a base price and a UPC code for each one of the units of measure. Underneath pricing, you have the ability to choose from a number of different pricing methods. So you can choose from different pricing methods or different pricing matrices. There is a video on pricing matrices and pricing methods. I'm going to go ahead and choose the one called fixed pricing with no quantity breaks, and it's going to bring up 3 price levels. Those 3 price levels are also something that you can define in preferences. So once again, if I go to File and Preferences And I'm going to bring that over here again. And if I go down to items, there's an option for price levels. And on the database tab on this screen, I can define the number of price levels, and I've defined 3. And then I could give each one a name. If I don't give it a name, it'll say something like sales price level 1, price level 2, price level 3. So I've gone ahead and modified the names, and I have bronze, gold, and platinum level customers. And then I can go ahead and put in what the sales price for each level of customer is. So for my bronze level customers, this will cost $550. It'll be $525 for my gold level, and it'll be $500 for my platinum level customers. Okay, of course, the customer price level is something that you assign on the customer itself. So as you set up each customer, you can say what level of customer they are. On the purchase information tab is where you will eventually see any purchases that come into the system. So you'll see what the cost is, what the last cost is, and the last purchase date, and so on. You can go ahead and in here, you can tell it, what the minimum quantity is. So at each location, if you're using inventory locations. If you're not using inventory locations, then you'll just have one line here that says all locations. Well, we only sell this package at our warehouse number 2. So we're going to say that we need a minimum of 10 in, a minimum of 5 in stock. The maximum quantity that we want in stock at any hand is 10, and our normal order quantity is 5. Okay, and we could go ahead and put in what our standard cost for that is. Okay, now the last cost and the last purchase date will actually come in when you actually put in a transaction to purchase and to purchase those. Okay, the vendor information down here at the bottom will allow you to choose different vendors that you purchase this from. So I'm going to say that I purchased this from Iceman Supplies. I could say what the vendor part number is, the number of lead time days they need, and the minimum order they need you to order in order to go ahead and make a purchase. So they're going to be my preferred vendor, and I could add additional vendors and part numbers for those vendors if I purchase this item from other vendors as well. On the other information tab is the ability to set up custom fields of information that you want to track about your different items. I haven't set any up yet, so I don't have any custom fields of information there. The place where you would go to set up custom fields is under File and Preferences. And I'm going to drag that back over to my machine here. And I'm going to choose Items, and there's an option here for Item Custom Fields. And on the database tab here, if I want to define a custom field, I'm going to go ahead and give it a name. I could give it a default value and then tell the system that it's being used. Okay, I can also default it as being required, or I could set the required status on each of the individual inventory items. Okay, and if I do that, then down here at the bottom, we would have a list of different fields that we can say are being used for this particular item. And then if I wanted to, I could substitute, if I go to sell this item and there's not enough in stock, I could set the system to bring up a list of substitutes, but I would have to select the substitutes from other items that I've already created. So I don't have any other ski packages set up yet, so I wouldn't want to go ahead and substitute it for anything at this time. It's something that I can go back later and adjust if I need to. Okay, I'm going to go back over to the General tab really quick because I forgot to talk about one thing over here, or actually two things. On the right-hand side here on this item, as I was setting it up, I didn't talk about the fact that you can display a picture of the item. To do that, I would need to have an image of the item somewhere that I can link to. So I can go ahead and link to a file that's actually on my desktop here, and it's called the Atomic Vantage 79 Ski Package. And now if I want it to really show up in this box on the screen, I could say display the picture there, and I would see a picture of it It's a little bit distorted. It gets a little bit bent out of shape depending on your monitor there. So I might not want to display it, but I might want the ability to go ahead and click on that image and then have it go ahead and bring it up on the screen here like it's going to for me. So it's going to bring up that ski package and what it looks like for me. Okay. And then also down in the bottom right-hand corner, I forgot to mention that there was an additional notes button where you can record notes about this item that you want to be able to be there for other people who might be using the database, or even as a reference to yourself, some additional notes that you want to track about this item. There is a timestamp here where you can put in a timestamp and then type in whatever notes you want to track about an item. I'm just going to say this is a note here and then click OK. And then this button changes to an edit notes button. That kind of is an indicator to you that there is actually notes there and that it's not just a blank field. But if I wanted to either edit or add to those notes in the future, I can click edit notes and I could either edit a note or I could put in a new timestamp and then put in a new note. I'm going to click cancel on that. And then to save my item, I'm just going to go ahead and click save, and it'll go ahead and save my new item. And that is setting up inventory items.